field through the short chute. Bobby Unser, what about the cold with regard to the fuel injection system?
It really won't affect much, Paul, because everything is fuel injection, computer controlled. That's going to make the difference. And coming on the back straightaway now, we'll accelerate to about 130 miles an hour, and the Cadillac Alante in just a minute now.
All right, Bobby, we'll let you pay attention to your very important job of bringing the field down. One car in trouble. The 36 car, unbelievable. Roberto Guerrero, the pole sitter, in trouble. No indication why this could have happened at all. We're only on the second parade lap, not even to the pace lap, and Roberto Guerrero spins the car. Talk about his bad luck here, Sam Posey. It struck again.
He has been on an emotional roller coaster throughout the month of May. Of course, he has not driven in cars, in racing cars, for almost a full year since he raced here. That's his wife, Katie, there. Of course, a look of disbelief. What could you be thinking at this point? They weren't even up to medium speed. It had to have been some incredible mechanical problem. You're looking at the team there of Kenny Bernstein. We're going to see him on the middle of the screen there. Absolutely inexplicable.
The only thing that one might consider, Bobby indicated to us, Bobby Unser, how cold it is, and because of that, look, the car is damaged.
Yeah, no question, he's out of the race.
The tires may not have come up to full temperature, and maybe with that high torque engine, when he shifted gears, just suddenly.
Boy, it...
Oh, what a terrible situation for Roberto Guerrero. One of the nicest men.
We thought that he was making a true comeback. Of course, he was one of the fastest and best drivers in IndyCar racing in the mid-70s. He suffered a concussion at this track in 1987 in a testing accident. He was in a coma for 17 days. And after that, and we're looking back now from the pace car, look at the right there, Roberto. Wow, he appears to have just turned suddenly, doesn't he, Paul? I think car owners felt that he never had fully... This is Philippe Gash. Incredible.
And this is Philippe Gash, who spun in the fourth turn. We're not even to the pace lap of this race. And that, now that we've had two of them, what do you think? The track is very cold. These tires must also be cold.
That's possible, but I don't think that's what happened to Roberto. Now, of course, Philippe Gash is very inexperienced in open wheelers, cars with this kind of power, no prior experience. I talked to him just a couple of days ago, and I said, Philippe, what's the toughest thing that's happened to you all month? He said, I think the toughest thing is ahead of me, the start. He was very worried about this, and he had reason to be.
Well, now the field will have to work its way around all of the vehicles that are attending to Roberto Guerrero, and no doubt will delay the start of the Indianapolis 500 as Bobby Unser takes the field around very, very slowly. So we'll keep track of this situation, and we'll be back in just a moment. Well, the field is forming up and beginning what we are told now will be the pace lap, that they will go green next lap. Near tears, Katie Guerrero. Her husband's car has been reported as too damaged to continue on. A report from a driver further back in the field was that Roberto just suddenly accelerated, perhaps going up to shift gears, and then this happened. The pole sitter at the Indianapolis 500 is out before the start of the race. And Philippe Gash, the number 44 car, very much the same sort of situation, I would say, Sam.
Yes, certainly can suggest that the cold tires mated with over 700 horsepower as you're going up from second to third gear could produce that. It is obviously devastating for Roberto Guerrero.
Jim Crawford trying to move up now. You got a glimpse of him in that bright green car, identical to the pole sitter. Emerson Fittipaldi trying to hold off Gary Bettenhausen.
There's a matchup with Emerson Fittipaldi with the new Chevy B engine. Gary Bettenhausen has a Buick.
And a car into the wall.
A teammate of Gary Bettenhausen's.
Another one of the Buicks out of the Menard stable. That's Tom Sneva's car.
Yeah.
Former winner of the race, and the front end heavily damaged there.
Sneva, of course, living out in the Phoenix area, developing golf courses and a new complex of baseball fields.
Sneva was trying to get out on his own. You saw him disconnect the steering wheel and pull it off.
The front end of that car damaged so badly, he could have some tanglement around his feet, Paul. Reading he couldn't get out right away. The fire that they had on the left was a small, like oil-type fire that wasn't going to go anywhere. But the big problem is going to be around his feet.
Tom Sneva has crashed in 5 of his last 7 Indy 500 starts.
Yeah, incredibly, he has not finished at all since he won this race in 1983, and of course he continues that streak now.
And you notice how the field, see there's this debris all over the racetrack, and the field had to really come down. Look how close they are to the pit entrance, single file. A lot of them, I'm sure, said, oh, why don't you just let us go down through the pits? Let's look at this situation as it developed with Tom Sneva, as we're under our second caution of the day.
You can't help but think how close on the racetrack this happened to where Nelson Piquet also crashed. Look at the upper part of the screen. That is a crash almost identical to Piquet's, Paul, Bobby.
Very, very close. Lost it at the apex.
He just flat lost it. It was just the rear end came loose. I don't think anything broke on the car. It was just simple matter.
Another angle, same situation.
And you can watch. It's right, Paul, at the most likely place that the guy loses it, at the very sharpest or the right down at the apex of the turn.
Another look at the same accident from down right on top of the wall. Watch for the yellow car, there it is.
He did not hit directly head on, which is encouraging there. Not as severe an impact as Piquet's was. The speed was lower and the angle was better. Let's have high hopes for Tom Sneva.
So Tom Sneva loses control in the 4th turn, catches the wall on the outside, bringing on the second yellow light of the day. We'll return with more action from the Indy 500 after this message and a word from your ABC stations. Well, just moments ago, they removed Tom Sneva from his damaged car, and look at that. Tom Sneva waves to the crowd, and you can bet they cheered back. So a precautionary ride to the hospital, but the first report is that Tom Sneva is in good shape. Another angle of this accident.
Sneva is one of 10 former winners in the race, and some of those men, including Sneva, have not had much experience lately. And Bobby, your brother Al told me, you know, when you haven't been driving a lot, what leaves you is your ability to handle the traffic. Whether that was part of the cause of this accident, he was following other cars closely, and there must have been a lot of turbulence taking air off that front wing.
Well, you can just see that the cars have so much adhesion, and then all of a sudden they just bust loose.
Let's go down to the pits. Jack Arutz with Roberto Guerrero. Michael Andretti is still the leader of the race. Eddie Cheever in 2nd. Emerson Fittipaldi is 3rd. Ari Luyendyk is 4th. Ray Hall is 5th. Scott Brayton is down to 6th now. Al Unser Jr. is up to 7th. Scott Goodyear is 8th. Paul Tracy is 9th. And Rick Mears is 10th as the green flag comes out once again. Only 3 cars remain on the lead lap. Michael Andretti, Eddie Cheever, and Emerson Fittipaldi after a round of stops under the yellow flag. 66 laps complete. We approach the halfway point in the Indy 500.
People will look and say, well, Michael has this big lead. Things must be going awfully easy for him. But he has gotten the big lead by taking...
And an accident.
Oh.
2 cars involved.
Well, there was an unavoidable crash.
Car Gash as he waves and says he's okay, but a second car got into that as he was spinning. Look at that.
Boy,
debris everywhere.
Like it for a couple of feet, that boy could have been very unlucky, Philip Gash, because the car that went by him, which I didn't get the number yet, he went by so fast, Paul, but boy, he could have hit him right in the center there.
Now, there's an interesting part of that rule that says the pits are closed. Somebody's hit him. He's got to have some damage. The chief steward, Tom Binford, said, now, if you really have a shredded tire or something and you have to come in, then you can do it without penalty. But I wonder how they're going to call this one.
The car that hit him is going to have a lot of damage, I promise you, because he got hit pretty hard, Paul.
So the rescue crews are already there. We are under yellow once again.
Here's Gash, an inexperienced rookie. He knew the race was going to be tough. He can't have guessed it would be this tough. That's not Gash getting out. No, that's
Fox. So down the track, that must be the other car.
Yes, there's the answer. I'm glad to see Stan is okay. He's a marvelous midget sprint car driver. You see the damage to the front right.
And he's laughing about it. Look at him. The right front of his car where it caught Gash is badly damaged. Now watch this. Watch this, Bobby. There's the spin. Philippe catches the wall. Oh. And Stan had nowhere to go. Wow.
And Stan was almost into a spin himself trying to miss him. There was nothing he could do, but I can't imagine how lucky that Stan Fox and Gash are that he didn't plug him right in the middle.
Yeah.
Watch this now. Oh. Watch this. Doesn't show it as good there, but he was in a drift trying to go to the left to miss him. Very close.
You know, that's a very unusual situation. You seldom see that kind of accident where one car is spinning and another car catches him anymore at Indy.
Again, though, you see the components of the car tearing off and absorbing energy.
Plus, look at that tire and the parts going across. Often a driver behind doesn't know which one to try to miss.
The rule at Indy used to be that you point at the car and then you'll miss it. Is that true anymore, Bobby? Yep. And there's Stan Fox as they take him back, and we take a look at how the leaders are arranged after 67 laps, still under the yellow. Pace car comes off, and Michael Andretti already anticipating the green flag, which flies, accelerates and pulls away from the rest of the field. Boy, look at the advantage he got on that restart.
Oh, he got a run at him clear back at turn 3, Paul. He got about a 2-city block head start on him there.
For all intents and purposes, this is a one-man race right now.
You saw a flash of what looked like smoke there for a second, and we've got an accident. Several cars.
Holy smokes. One of the Penske cars.
It looks to be Fittipaldi.
Emerson. It's
Emerson Fittipaldi.
Who
Tags the wall right on that restart.
Who'd been running third. He was one of 2 other cars on the same lap as Michael Andretti.
Well, Emil had great fortune on the yellow. He was on the tail end of the lead lap, but was able to close up and get back into contention when the yellow came out.
He looks to be all right. He's moving around in there an awful lot. The car doesn't look like it's been up all that bad, Paul.
This is the view of this situation from Rick Mears' onboard camera.
Mears had up ahead of steam. Whoa, Mears is going to be out of it too.
So Mears, it looks like, got involved with the Crawford car.
Yep.
Caught a quick glimpse of that
Both
car
Penske cars. Both Penske cars put out at the same instant.
A single situation and 2 cars out and the second Bernstein car.
Oh, and he was caught. There was absolutely no place to go. In other words, it just was a wedge right into the wall, plus into the green car. Crawford there also.
Well, there is an example of when your number is up on this track, your number is up. There's just nowhere to hide on an oval with a big concrete wall around the outside of it.
It looked as they came back to green, we saw a lot of dust coming up. The track, of course, they've run very hard on a lot of this track.
Yeah.
And there you see Emerson's problem. Emerson apparently got into some of the debris of that accident.
Yeah, but I think there's Roger Penske.
Well, he suffered a tremendous loss in the past few seconds.
Boy, yeah. I mean, that's a lot of loss in just a short time, and you can look at Roger's face and see what his feelings
now
are.
Now take a look at it again.
Okay, there's the first impact, which involved Mears and Crawford, and there's Emerson crashing at the top of the screen.
You know, it appeared that Emma went down there and had a problem unrelated to the others.
Incredible.
Unless he ran over some debris.
But he wasn't there yet. He wasn't at the scene of the accident yet. I don't think he could have been running over debris.
Back.
See?
Look at that.
There's impact number 1, and now we're going to look at the upper right.
Watch Fittipaldi running rather high.
Yep.
And comes out from behind that other car.
I think he may have just had to lift off really suddenly because of what he saw ahead. There's Rick Mears waving. He's going to be fine. Incredible. It's so far, knock on wood, we don't have a couple of vital reports. Everybody is getting away with what really amounts to automotive carnage.
And that dust that I mentioned that was part of the oil dry that they put down on the track after the last accident. So that's not representative of what the rest of the track might be like. Emerson Fittipaldi, as they help him, and he's sore, though he's obviously conscious and awake.
Penske's $2 million Warriors being carted off at exactly the same moment. I never thought I'd see this at the Speedway.
Devastating. 1 turn, 1 lap, all at the same time as 2 stars.
Emerson, I think he's hurt.
Emo's smiling, but
no, I don't think that was a smile. I really don't. I think he was, grimace. I really think so.
Now Fittipaldi is on the high side there. Watch them as they come out from behind the tree.
Just starting to get in trouble there.
On the low side, actually, down low.
That's what we meant.
And catches the wall.
Yep.
Well, Emo's been spending a lot of time over at Methodist Hospital visiting his good friend Nelson Piquet, who we can report to you is improving, and we wish him well. Now perhaps Emerson Fittipaldi will be making a trip over to Methodist as well. The Hanna Emergency Medical Center here in the grounds. Mears and Fittipaldi both on their way there. We'll be back after this. Pace car comes off onto the pit road. Michael begins to accelerate. It's not nearly as good a run off of the fourth turn as he got the last time, as the green flag flies on the 82nd lap of the Indianapolis 500. And look at, oh, and another car, and that's Mario.
This involves Mario Andretti. You see him moving over toward the pit wall on the inside. Mario Andretti.
Well, that's been more like a war zone today than it has been a race. We hardly get the race started, we have another crash.
Very lucky for Michael Andretti. This will bring out a yellow, which will enable him to take care of his tire problem.
Well, remember, Sam, we don't know that he has one. Let's tell everybody that, but he's just worried that he may have, and often the tires don't give a problem until you're in the middle of the turn.
Now watch this as we ride with Mario. Waiting for the green to come out. The field strung out through the third turn now. The short chute is ahead.
But you just don't want to know. You just don't want to look.
Back end just came loose.
Oh.
Boy, that gives you an idea how hard they hit here. Back end just came loose, just like you just said, Paul. There was, I don't think anybody else involved or anything else involved.
Sixth time that a crash has taken Mario out of the Indy 500.
He's failed to finish in 20 of 27 Indy races.
And it's at the same place that turn 4 coming off. It's got to be slippery up there because we've seen a lot of problems there.
And that was a fairly head-on angle into the wall, so we hope Mario is okay as we take a look at this situation again.
This race has turned into a demo derby, basically. And yet, in a sense, it is also proof that today's technology in Indy cars can protect the driver. We've seen accident after accident without serious injury. It makes you wonder, why can't we have something like this for our passenger cars? I hope that in the next 10 or 15 years, the technology that we are seeing developed here at Indianapolis will start to be available widely for all of us who drive our families on the street.
Violent spin when he hit the wall.
The cars that were running behind Mario all had to jog around there, including Bobby Rahal.
You can watch
this is the
him
Indycar in slow motion. Now watch his hands. He tries to correct it.
Yeah.
Now remember, on a very good car, that once it's gone sideways, you see, he quits working the steering wheel, because once you've gone so far sideways, there's nothing left to do with the steering wheel. Just ride it out and hope for the best after that.
And did you see him push his head back into the headrest just before he went to the wall?
Yeah.
So you don't get a whiplash and pop
He took precautions, that's for sure.
That's the move of a veteran.
Yeah. I bet he pulled his feet back in there, too.
This view is right from the wall that separates the main straight from the pits.
Well, he hit that thing head on. I mean, it's bad.
It has been seriously dangerous in turn 4 this year at Indianapolis.
So a most unusual Indianapolis 500 is 84 laps old. Look at the Buicks. We started the race with 12. Only 5 are left. Guerrero, Bachelor, Sneva, Fox, John Cat Crawford, and Brayton. All by the wayside, though not all due to engine failures. Some accidents involved in that as well. The last, of course, Brayton, as the green flag comes out. And you watch Michael Andretti work the 5/8 of a mile straightaway at Indianapolis. And just that fast, the 5/8 of a mile are gone. Into the short chute at the south end of the track. And look how he pulls away from the rest of the field, right out to the green. You never saw anybody else in the shot. Michael Andretti, a tremendous run. And Paul Tracy apparently in trouble. The last Penske car, and another car into the wall. Another car into the wall.
Vassar.
Jimmy
Vassar. Wow. One of the really top rookies in this field, a man with a big future.
You know, you would think by now, with the problems that these drivers are having, and they've seen the other guys have with their cold tires after these restarts, that they'd go a little bit easier, Paul.
You know,
they may not understand what's happening.
Isn't that the kind of thing that they would go up and down the pits and tell everybody to be concerned with, Bobby?
They see this all around the track, believe me.
Dr. Henry Bach had just come out of the care center here just a moments ago, just giving us a report on some of the long list of drivers. Let's listen in.
Some report on his x-rays.
Okay, Henry, you just came out. You have a list of injuries on certain drivers that have been brought in just moments ago.
Tom Sneva has been released from Methodist Hospital in good condition. His x-rays were negative. Jim Crawford is going to Methodist, as is Rick Mears and Emerson Fittipaldi and Mario Andretti. Rick Mears sustained injuries to his left knee, and we'll get x-rays of that in his feet. Emerson Fittipaldi has a puncture wound to his left knee, and Mario Andretti has injuries to both of his feet, the extent of which we won't know until we see his x-rays.
So a lot of reports pending here from the Hanna Medical Center. Let's check into the pits with Jack Arute.
We look once again at the situation that brought on our latest yellow.
That was Vassar.
Jimmy Vassar caught the wall.
And you can see the same problem.
Exactly the same thing, isn't it?
Just loose adhesion, and of course the rear end's always the one that breaks away first. And it just looks like a replay of almost every accident we've had today so far.
We're hearing a lot of guys are getting hurt here. This is very bleak.
Yeah, that's not a great list that Dr. Bach gave us. There's Vassar.
Yeah. Just a one-car
right down in the apex.
Very fortunate.
It was almost a two-car right there,
yeah,
Sam.
You bet. Sure was. John Andretti missing him by inches.
Remember, they did a lot of work on John Andretti's car to get him back in the action. Here's the view across the short chute. A lot of damage to the right side of that car. Let's go down to the pits. Gary Gerald is with Rick Gallis.
Eddie Cheever second.
As the green comes out, the field comes back up to speed.
Boy, they are accelerating very early. They picked up the power in the short chute between 3 and 4 long before they were inside of the green.
Another car into the wall. Like you say, Bobby, it's surprising that they have not learned the lesson.
Well, I really think they have, but I don't think a lot of the drivers remember the old days when tire temperatures were so important before Goodyear had figured out how to work the rubber. And the guys are just having a problem with it. And it just doesn't look like it's going to get any better. You see guys like Ray Hall and Big Al and Little Al, guys like this that seem to have enough experience, but how does that answer Mario Andretti? He's really good here.
It's Brian Bonner who climbs out of the car. Another rookie in this race. And he appears to be okay. That's the good news on Brian, but once again, the tires do not appear to come to temperature. Not a problem with the tire, a problem with a cool day. Brian Bonner was running 16.
Yeah. Well, he hit that thing really, really straight head on. Just goes to show you, though, sometimes the impact gets just right. The driver doesn't get hurt at all. With Bonner, he's standing on his feet. It doesn't look like his feet are.
I don't think he was really up to speed, though. Do you?
Speed, yeah. Exactly.
You see,
still a hard hit. You know,
how
many times could you even hit dead head on like he did at 60 miles an hour and survive?
I'd a lot rather be sitting here in the booth than in his car, I'll tell you that.
He's probably doing 100, maybe 100, 120 miles an hour when he hit the wall there.
All of that. Not nearly the 200 that we see, but he was certainly going fast when he got the wall. But Brian Bonner did pop out of that car.
Look at the rear wing, how it's bent over there. That just shows you it didn't touch anything. Shows you how hard it hit, Paul. It just bends it over the side.
We've had 51 laps under green, 51 under yellow, as we're 2 laps beyond the halfway point.
Well, that isn't a good sign. Rick Hall's bidding a lot earlier than he should be.
Well, they just made a stop under that yellow a few laps ago, so we'll watch Ray Hall to see what the problem could possibly be.
This is ironically almost the same point that he went out of the race last year, just as he seemed to have a chance to win it.
Jack Arute is right there, Jack.
It's a flat tire, fellas. They had to come in and change a tire. Now remember, he's the one that gambled to stay out on old tires. It came up the wrong way for him this time.
Only 9.7 seconds to change the tire.
All right, a flat tire is going to be from debris, not being worn out. And the problem is that wouldn't have made any difference if it was a new tire or used one. But with all the wrecks we have, just imagine how many little pieces may be laying around that racetrack.
Ray Hall went into the pits in 5th place, but he dropped back during that. Scott Goodyear, for one, was able to get around.
Very costly stop for Ray Hall. Under the green, that's bad time.
Jeff Andretti.
Jeff Andretti catches the wall, this time several laps back into the green flag. Driving A.J. Foyt's car.
Oh, Gary Bettenhausen, who just talked about his run, a fine run.
Look at the tire on the left, still rotating, still rolling down the track. The debris is still early.
Gary Bettenhausen There's his car. He's failed to finish 15 of his 20 Indy 500s. The tire finally rolls to a stop from 200 miles an hour.
And exactly 20 years ago, Gary Bettenhausen almost had this race won. Small problem right near the end really robbed this man of being a winner of the Indy 500.
Gary's car doesn't look too bad. The left front has bent a little bit, and he shouldn't have many problems. He has problem getting out because his left arm doesn't work too good.
From a prior accident.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
He can still drive good with it, though. It doesn't bother him a bit.
Doesn't look too bad in terms of a little easier to repair and not much damage to Gary, but that car is out of the race. Another look at it, Bobby Unser.
Now just violently.
Boy.
Violently.
Boy, Jeff.
Looked like a wheel was off the car before the car started spinning, and Jeff really caught the wall hard. Gary Bettenhausen was behind the accident. Now he's talking with the crews on how they're going to hook his car.
Boy, those were both Lolas. 27 Lolas started the race, and the...
Now watch. See, that wheel's already gone.
Yeah, the right rear came off of that thing. It happened so fast. I didn't catch it a while ago, but watch as it goes around there. There is no right rear. There's the right rear rolling down the track. Now, that's about the worst tire you could lose, because the rear end is going to come around when that happens.
But, Bobby, aren't there supposed to be locks now to prevent that?
Well, Paul, there are, and I really can't explain that. That's a head-on crash. That's a bad hit right there for Jeff. Same angle PK hit at,
and
just
the
a
tub
real bad
heavily
wreck.
damaged.
But you're right, the wheel, even if the nut that holds the wheel on were left loose, Paul, there's a safety lock on there that should prevent it from coming off, and I can't answer that one for you.
And once again, these safety crews who have worked far too much today are huddled around another car, and this time it belongs to Jeff Andretti.
It's an AJ Foyt entry.
Mario Andretti's youngest son.
Yep.
12 cars have been sidelined by accidents, and we're just past the halfway point in the Indy 500. So a race riddled with accidents and a very strange start. We'll be back. Jeff started this race as a teammate to AJ Foyt. By the way, this accident moves AJ into the top 10. Bobby Unser, look at it again. Maybe we can figure out why Gary Bettenhausen got involved.
Yes, well, you see, that's Jeff Andretti. Boom, right head on into the wall, really bad. I think probably the hub broke on the right rear. I doubt that the safety lock came loose. But now you watch that tire bouncing, and it bounces to the left. We'll see another shot of it here in just a moment.
Report, by the way, the update. I'll give it to you while we watch.
Now there's Jeff hitting the wall head on. There's the tire going around. It bounces. It comes back. Now watch that tire when it comes back down, and it shoots to the inside of the track. Gary Bettenhausen runs into it, hits his left front on it, and that's what put Gary out right there.
There you can see the debris from Gary's car after the tire hits it, and he catches the inside wall. The report from the safety officials here is that Jeff Andretti is conscious, and they're just taking their time, being very careful at this moment, cutting him out of that car.
But you know, we've got two Andrettis right now on their way to the hospital. Not good news.
Giant crowd here has seen a most unusual race. Earlier this month, the fastest rookie to that point had trouble like we're seeing here now. His name, of course, Nelson Piquet. So Michael Andretti continues to lead the Indianapolis 500. Arie Luyendyk runs in second place. Then the Unser family and Scott Goodyear. 135 laps complete. And another car. This time it's Arie Luyendyk into the wall. Under a long period of green, Arie Luyendyk catches the wall running in second place.
Well, look at that left front tire still spinning. What happened is he lost his brakes as soon as he bent the right front tire on.
She's worried. She knows what's happened because they've been in radio touch. They instantly know what's going on in the pits.
This is the first race that Arie hasn't finished here in 3 years. He owns a gallery out in Phoenix. This is obviously a major disappointment for the Ganassi team, which will now have to rely on Eddie Cheever.
You know what I liked about Arie Luyendyk when he won the Indianapolis 500? The first winner in a long time that brought his whole family up to share the joy of the celebration of winning the 500. Introduced his son, little Arie, and his wife. It was really a grand
He's
moment.
a wonderfully warm man. He was given a standing ovation here the other day by the fans as he walked along pit wall. I'm sure they'll be very disappointed to see him
long before the apex of the corner, Bobby.
He certainly did, and it's just a question now what made the thing jump out like that. There's
Looks
something.
like a half shaft.
I was just going to say that thing going off to the side there looks like an axle, Paul.
So would you suspect a CV joint?
All right, now you just think about it now. If they have a vibration, CV joint breaks, the axle would come out, only one tire would drive. That can easily be the problem.
Far upper right corner.
Yes, Paul, in fact, you see the car just literally went straight. Most likely didn't lose his steering. That piece we saw come out has to be a half shaft.
Fortunately, good angle of impact with the wall. Ari should be okay, but Mika is still concerned, and we're back under yellow.
49 minutes and 21 seconds.